Welcome back to the New Jersey Morning Show. I'm Mike Favetta.
And I'm Cara DeFalco, where our next guest recently went viral in an Instagram video talking about the state of small businesses in New Jersey.
It's been a crazy 10 years on this journey of being a small business owner, and I hope that we persevere. But I have to be realistic in thinking that this could be the last year that Gurriero Gelato is in business, or at least is in business the way that it is right now. Things need to change because the math is simply not mathing anymore.
Yeah, please welcome Mike Gurriero, chef and owner of Gurriero Gelato, to the show. Mike, thanks so much for your time this morning.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, so, in your video, you did touch on some of the personal issues prior to the soundbite that we just heard. But you, more broadly, really something that we've all been dealing with is inflation. So how has that impacted your business?
A gallon of milk before the pandemic was $2.80, and obviously that's the main component in our ice cream and our gelato. Nowadays, even getting it from wholesale, it's almost $4.50, sometimes $5 a gallon. And a lot of times these dairies are now being so consolidated across the country, in the state, in New York. And you get to the point where last year they weren't reaching the sales goals that they wanted to. A lot of these companies now, they were small family farms, they were cooperatives. Now they're these big venture capital companies. And when they weren't reaching the profits they wanted to last year, in November, they hit us with a 30% increase across the board. Your supermarkets, they try to absorb the cost of dairy and stuff like that as much as they can. These are called their loss leaders. But for companies like myself that make ice cream, make gelato, and then many of your favorite pizzerias that rely on dairy, that 30% increase really kills us. It's the number one cost that we have as a business.
I think you hit the nail on the head, especially with dairy used in pizza making. Pizza's quite expensive these days. So do you think food businesses and restaurants have seen the biggest impact overall from inflation?
100%. I believe in the core PCI that they put out. They really don't include energy. They don't include food because those prices are so volatile. Even on the other end, as far as the labor market, they don't include farmers because that market is also so volatile. I already saw that there were some projections that chocolate is going to go up probably 2 or 3 times what it is right now because of deforestation happening, viruses that are affecting cocoa plants and stuff like that. So definitely food prices are something that you see the most. And restaurants now are heavily reliant, like I said, on just a few distributors, a few different companies, and it's definitely impacting us the most. Going back to pizza, I had one of the most famous pizzerias in Essex County contact me and talk to me after I put out the video. A lot of small businesses did and just said, thank you for starting a public dialogue on something that we all talk about behind the scenes. And this business owner who has multiple locations, who, if I put their name out there, they would, everyone would say they're one of the most famous pizzerias in the area. He said to me, Mike, I made more money on a pizza when the pizza was $8 than now when they're $25.
And that's the part that blows your mind, really, because you do, as the consumer, we are also watching those prices go up. And I think, I like to consider myself a more educated consumer. I do try to remind myself, listen, it's costing them that much more to create the same product. They're not, gouging you, sort of a thing. And it was interesting that you brought up the chocolate as well, because I had heard that story, but I did not make the correlation between the cost of chocolate going up and the cost of my local ice cream shop going up. Sometimes you don't make that correlation between those things. So Mike, in your opinion, what's the biggest threat to small businesses in New Jersey right now?
A couple of different things. Number one, I like to ask people, especially like with everything that's been going on, what's the biggest food business in your community? And I think that a lot of people don't realize it, but the biggest one in every community is DoorDash, Uber Eats, and Starbucks. And when you go to a local, baseball game, or you go to a street fair or any of these, nonprofit or community events, you don't see their names up on banners. And they're the ones that are making money on almost every single, small business in town. And places like Starbucks that are these big coffee shops, they take away from the mom and pop, number one. And again, they don't invest in the community. So, the biggest threat is that, when the pandemic happened, everyone was, so geared towards shopping local, ordering directly from small businesses, and now the convenience bug has kicked back in again. And even ourselves, we had a big database of customers that ordered directly through us, and it saved us a lot of money. And now more and more, you have, whether it's DoorDash, you have these food trucks that pull up, on site and do business. You have these different food trucks that you can text and they'll come to your area. And so all of these conveniences for people, are just really hurting the small businesses, because none of these businesses pay taxes into our towns. They don't fund our schools. They don't donate to Tricky Trays. They don't take part in nonprofits. And so I keep seeing my donation requests go up and up and up. But I do see these parents and these customers online, going to these different companies that have no say in what goes on in our local communities. So I really think that these third-party apps and all of these virtual restaurants and companies are really eating into our ability to support and our ability to make profit.
And why do you think local businesses are important? Some of the best ways we can support them, like you mentioned, by maybe going to the mom and pop store instead of the national chain. What do you say more about that?
Well, I think going back to Kara's point of what she said, it definitely costs us small businesses a lot more to do business with, rising wages and different costs and stuff like that. But it doesn't really cost, that dairy manufacturer or all these companies that are automated. It doesn't cost them anymore. They're just taking advantage of a market that we're in right now, where customers are willing to bear the brunt of it. And so obviously that cost then gets passed on the back end to us. So really the best ways that we can do this is even when you go to your local supermarket, there are local choices that you can choose from. Showing up to your local pizzeria, picking up an order, avoiding third-party apps, thinking twice about how your convenience costs other people, right? When we get out of a party or we're hanging out at 2 o'clock in the morning, we all love that convenience of being able to go to a fast food joint and having them be open, or go to a convenience store. But for our convenience, we're inconveniencing somebody else, right? We're not going to go and cook burgers at 3 o'clock in the morning, but as a consumer, we expect someone to do that. So basically just trying to support people during different times, making sure that, we're not inconveniencing small businesses. And I know a lot of small businesses have changed their store hours and done different things and are offering certain promotions. So, listen to them, see what they're marketing, see what they're trying to sell, see how they're changing their menu, and just do your best to remember that as you put your kids through the school system, as you want these community events, as your churches are doing different things, again, these third-party apps, these food trucks, the green mermaid on a cup, none of them are going to support these things. Only your local pizzeria, restaurant, ice cream store, Chinese restaurant, any of these local people that live in the community and pay taxes in the community, they're the only ones that are going to support you back.
Mike Gurriero, owner of Gurriero Gelato, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Kara brings up some really good points about the national chains. They're really not investing in the community. When was the last time you saw the Mermaid Cup Company sponsor a softball team in town?
Yeah, or the local town carnival or something like that. No, it's really true. And I think, like you said, he brought up a lot of great points and a lot of things where, again, I try to be conscious, I think, because as a journalist, because we talk to these people more often than I think the average person does, I try to make that extra effort, and it is an extra effort, and that's really what it is. And he hit the nail on the head with that, is it's very convenient to order lunch from your phone and have it delivered, but what if, I think sometimes, especially, maybe those that are parents, if you can kind of look at your kids and go, well, what if this order of lunch means that kid doesn't get to play Little League this year?
Sure. Yeah, that's true too. But I like how some of larger companies, search engines such as Google, when you search for a food place on the Google Maps, for instance, there'll be an option and a delivery service that's preferred by the restaurant. So maybe that, helps incentivize you to use that, and should help the local mom and pop shop out a little more.
Yeah, hopefully. It's going to be, it's definitely something to see and something to follow up on. Well, up next, how the YWCA of Northern New Jersey is helping female business owners.
Ahead, we'll meet the producer of the documentary, The Asbestos City, and learn why he made a movie about a Somerset County town.